Hello out there, this is Wake Angel 2001, and it's been a while since I've done any toy reviews because I've been concentrating on making toys so much. But you know what, this is fun and easy content, and I haven't been toy shopping in a while, so when I went to GameStop today and stumbled across this, I figured, hey, why not? It's Thunderbeam Megaman, made by Funko. I was actually surprised that Funko made a proper action figure of Mega Man, so I just wanted to check it out. So the back of the box reveals that there's some alternate ones, although they did not have original color Mega Man or Dr. Wily in stock. They only had this Thunderbeam and 2 leaf shields. But hey, you know, not every figure of Mega Man has to be blue, right? So let's get him out of the packaging and take a look. One more thing, the packaging is pretty nice, except it is absolutely not collector friendly. Once opened, it will be torn. Come on, Funko, I thought you were supposed to be collector-friendly. That's supposed to be your whole thing. Oh well. And here he is taken out of the packaging. Now, at first blush, I'd say this is a pretty decent Mega Man figure. He has that cute little expression. He doesn't look overly angry like some other action figures have. And he represents this color scheme fairly well. Yeah, like Mega Man is a very simple design that could work in a wide array of colors, and this just happens to be the electric beam. Now, upon closer inspection, there is some flaws. I'd say that there's a swirliness in the plastic, like they poured it into the mold too fast and it didn't dry properly. Especially around here in the back, you can see there's quite a bit of marring, like it didn't cool at the proper temperature, or they pulled it out of the mold before it had a chance to completely harden or something like that. So, like, it doesn't feel like it's crumbling or cheap. It's actually a very solid figure, but, you know, like, it's an aesthetic thing. Some of the plastic just doesn't look like it's had the proper time to go into the mold. He comes with alternate parts. He has a new left arm, basically his entire forearm, to replace the buster. And it looks like this should be a wrist joint, but I can't get it to turn. Either it's just a deep cut they made to make it look like a wrist joint and it's actually not, or it's paint stuck, or the thing just was molded wrong. So if anyone has this figure and this is a proper wrist joint that turns easily, let me know, because I can't get that thing to turn. And he has a replacement right hand, which again, I think it shows a little bit of that mold marring, especially right here on the inside. Although I like how they made a little cut there so that the plastic has room to flex so you can get it on and off the peg easier. Now, the articulation of this figure is pretty good, but it took me quite some time to work it because some of its detents are really tight, and I had a hard time getting things to bend. The head is on a ball joint, has a pretty decent range. Look at all that expressive tilt you can get. And of course you can turn it, so that's all well and good. The shoulders are pin disked, so they can go outwards. They can go completely around. The elbows have a swivel, which kind of works as a de facto wrist joint in some way. Like I said, it's better for swivels to be up on the biceps, so you could have a bicep swivel, but this is a kind of a high wrist swivel, which kind of means, like, since he has a wrist swivel on this arm, it just means that this is just spinning meat here. And you got to be careful to make sure that these cuts are lined up with your elbow joint, or else the arm won't bend. Speaking of bending, those elbows do seem to have detents, so it's actually really hard. This is where it's hard. There we go. It's actually really hard to get the elbows to bend because the detents are so tight. And like I said, a lack of a bicep swivel because the pin is put on the wrong side does mean that he is a little bit limited in his arm articulation. The detent on the right arm isn't quite so aggressive. He has a waist joint, simple swivel. And he has ball joints in the hips, but the way they're sculpted doesn't give them a lot of range. Yeah, you can pretty much just move them right up until this cut in his little his little shorts. So you can widen his stance a little bit. Like, they can be together, they can be wide, but that's about it. He has knee bends as well. Just like the elbows, there's some pretty hard detents in there that can make them pretty hard to bend. And like the arms, the swivel is below the knee, so it works as an ankle spin instead of up here where it would serve better as a thigh swivel. Yeah, I mean, I guess they wanted to try and hide the articulation within his armor so that you wouldn't have visible joints, but that does bring down his posability. It's one of those things where you're sacrificing posability for a smoother sculpt, which on a robot character like Mega Man, I think you could have gotten away with it. Especially because, like, he already kind of has a sculpted in joint here, so this would have been a perfect place to hide a bicep swivel, you know? And he does have ankle movement too. They feel like ball joints, and they have a little bit of range in all directions, so you can make sure his feet are flat for as far as his legs can move. So the posability on this figure is pretty darn good. Pretty okay. Like I said, if the bicep and knee swivels were placed differently, then it would be better. Let's see, if swapping the limbs out, simply pull it off, and it's on a mushroom peg. Alright, thanks to that little cut in the plastic there, it makes the swapping relatively easy. So now he has a waving hand, you know, like, hey, I'm Mega Man. Or, I believe that's... Yeah. Like, in the level finishing poses, he always kind of puts his hand up like this. So you have that going for you. And, like I said, you can just pull the entire arm off the joint here, so you can swap it out for, You see, this joint doesn't have that cut, so this plastic, you really kind of have to push it in a little harder, just to get... Yeah, okay. So yeah, now he has a hand with a fist. And I really think that there's supposed to be a wrist joint here, but it doesn't move, so I can't tell if that's a defect in this one particular figure or if this is just meant to be a single piece. Again, anyone who has this figure wants to enlighten me, let me know. Alright, so pretty simple and straightforward figure made by Funko. If you're like me, then the reason you would probably want a Mega Man figure is so that you could bolster up your Super Smash Bros. Display. So, how does this Funko figure look when he's put next to other figures? Well, here's a Mario right here. Mario representing the very common scale for the World of Nintendo line. Of course, this is the figure art, but as we know, it's the same size. And, yeah, I could see this. Mega Man, Mario, about the same height. This would be a pretty darn good Mega Man to take place in a display for your Super Smash Bros. Figures. I got no complaints there. So, yeah, that works. Okay, so limitations in the hips and lack of bicep and knee swivels aside, for a tenner, this is a pretty darn good Mega Man figure. I mean, he's only $10, and he looks very cute. He comes in a variety of colors, so you can pick your favorite. And he's nice. This is a very nice Mega Man figure. Very nice. I tend to like the stuff that Funko puts out, so I got no major complaints. Alright, so that has been my review of Funko's Mega Man. And this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.